Okay, stream should be back online. I just had to change a couple of settings. Incorporeal is our next map. I don't know if I've played on this map or not. I don't know if I've seen any games on this map or not. Ley Lines is like one that I'm used to because it was in the old map pool. Incorporeal, I don't know if I've seen. I think I've seen Pylon. I think I watched like a Loco cast or something where Pylon was the map. I'm super surprised that Your Edge went and GG'd out of that. Because to me, it felt the entire game. Like, I think that Atlantean had a good run by at the end, but it kind of felt like Atlantean had him on, or was on the ropes for a good chunk of that, barely holding on, barely stopping the offense from the Zerg. At least that's how I felt about it. I may have completely misread it, or, Your Edge might have just gotten tired of playing into that. All right, we're getting into game 2 of our series, Your Edge versus Atlantean. Map 2 on Incorporeal LE. All right. So in the bottom corner, playing with the Blue Zerg drones. Send them your energy so we can get them on the board. We have Your Edge. And in the top corner, with the red Protoss probes, we have Atlantean. Okay, so this is a bit of a funky map. Okay, I think I have played a game on this, and I tried to cannon rush someone, and the creep going right to the edge kind of fucked me. So yeah, I think that was my experience with this map. Some of these new maps are really neat, though. I like the design a lot. We've got a watchtower in the center. That's something that might be worth sending out a probe to early on. Alright, Atlantean is going to spot that. There are no shenanigans. It's regular timed hatchery, regular time pool. I haven't seen Your Edge like cheese very often. Oh. Heard a follow come through. Thank you for the follow, Gam Gam. And thank you for being part of the intern team and helping to organize these awesome tournaments. Okay. So it looks like everything so far is pretty standard. Also, just as a reminder to everyone, we are on a 60-second delay. So if I don't respond to something you say in chat or a follow or whatever immediately, it's just because of the delay or something really interesting is going on. All right, normal timed everything. We're immediately starting with a warp gate research and a stalker. Atlantean does like to drive off those overlords, which I can't really blame him for. Personally, I like adept scouting just to make sure that I'm not going into some weird two-base all-in kind of shenanigans. But that is just me. Ling speed coming up. First queen is about to pop. Or actually, both queens pop at basically the same moment. Wall off is finished for Atlantean. We are going to pressure, though, it looks like, with some Zerglings on the other side of the map. Should be getting up maybe a shield battery. Okay, that's all it is. Yep, shield battery goes down, just as an in case. Twilight Council, early Twilight Council. Now, Protoss can hit with a really brutal Zealot all-in, where as soon as you have your Twilight and as soon as you have your Robo, you pull basically all of your probes out of gas, you go up to 8 gates, you start the Zealot charge research, and then you hit like a truck with like 16 or 24 Zealots at about the 5-minute mark. But it looks like that's not what we're going. We're just going early charge because Atlantean's favorite unit is Zealots. I do think from watching these two play, though, that if Atlantean could hit around 5 minutes with some kind of a timing attack, like that Zealot all-in I just mentioned, your Edge would be completely blindsided, completely off guard, and would have like really nothing to defend against it. Ooh, Overlord dies, and your Edge is now supply blocked. And he still only has an army supply of 5. He is all in on economy. It is going to be up to Atlantean to do something to slow this Zerg down. Because if he just sits on the other side of the map, because he's got no oracles, he's got no adepts, he's got no nothing, and your Edge is up to fully saturated 3 base economy. Well, fully saturated minerals, 3 base economy. And yeah, it's going to be scary if Atlantean doesn't do something to put some pressure on the other side of the map, and to put some pressure on the Zerg, and to kill some of these drones. Oh, thank you for the follow, Sunny Winning Wealth. Appreciate that, brother. Okay, so we got a couple more gates. We're up to 4 gates for the Protoss. We have hit a supply block. Our warp prism is not able to be warped in. We've got lots of extra minerals, lots of extra gas. We should maybe look at like a blink upgrade, because even if you aren't going like primarily stalkers, and you still probably want to get that blink upgrade just in case. And you're sitting on a bank of minerals and gas. It would not be the worst. Both players are just macroing up here. Third base going down for Atlantean. But in these kind of situations, I have to favor the Zerg a bit. Like, yes, he's only got 9 army supply, but that can explode out of nowhere. And Lurker Den is going down early. Atlantean does not typically play a lot of Sky Toss, so Lurkers will counter basically every unit that he has on the ground. I cannot tell you the number of games I have lost as Protoss simply because of Lurkers. Even when I've had like massive numbers of Immortals, I somehow still lose to Lurkers. Okay, yeah. We've hit that number of drones, 63 workers. Could use a little bit more, but and now your Edge is starting to pump out army. And this is what I'm saying, like, yes, Atlantean has been left alone to macro on the other side of the map, but he does not have as good of an economy as your Edge. And this is very scary, because this Zerg economy has not been touched. It has not been slowed down. There is absolutely nothing that has been done to it. So yes, boring game, but Zerg is in such a good position off of just being left alone for the last, 7 minutes. No oracles, no adepts, no nothing, no zealot warp-ins or like run-bys. Now, though we do look like we're getting some shenanigans going on now, this was most likely spotted by the Overlord that is over here. That's why it's always a good idea to have an Overlord in this dead space. You catch the Marine drops, you catch the warp prisms. But at the end of the day, these aren't DTs. This is just going to be some zealots into the back of the base. Alright, we're up to like, what's that, 9, 10 gates? But still only 1 robo facility. We are getting some Sky Toss. We are getting some Void Rays, which are going to be good against Lurkers, but they'll be able to kill them simply because Lurkers won't be able to shoot up. But the Hydras should be able to defend the Lurkers. We have no splash to take out the Zerglings and or the Hydralisks here. And now the Lurkers are going in. Alright, burrow them. You gotta burrow them. And that mineral line is toast. 6 probes going down in an instant. And if you're Atlantean, like, I honestly don't think you can fight this. You've got no Storm. You've got no Colossus. You've got nothing to deal with just this massive Zerg unit. 17 probes go down. 3rd Nexus goes down. Completely caught off guard by the Lurkers. And you know what? Void Rays will kill Zerglings and Lurkers because they can't shoot up, but those Hydras will usually beat Voids just straight up. Alright, massive losses for Atlantean. Your Edge catapults ahead to a 156 to 100 supply lead. We got more Lurkers morphing in. We got some Archons coming up on the side of Atlantean. Meanwhile, there's an Overlord just chilling in the base, seeing his entire, tech tree. I don't think Atlantean is going to be capable at this point of putting up the numbers that he needs. His economy is in shambles. Yeah, this is going to be game, I feel. Because now the Lurkers are burrowed. The army supply is 102 to 53, which actually, bigger army supply difference than I would have expected. Like, Atlantean has more army supply, than I would have expected, but I guess that's some in production. The Colossus is just walking into the Lurkers. Alright, Void Rays are here. We're going to take out... Oh, but I think the Observer got taken out. Or moved away. Alright, Void Rays are going to go and start targeting these Lurkers, but we've got 15 probes going down. The Nexus goes down. Hydras are on hold position. We're going to take out a couple more of these Lurkers, but if I'm Atlantean, there's just no way back into this. You can't all in from this position and actually win. Like, this is probably just game over. He's trying to rebuild the Nexus. Okay. We're going to long distance mine a bit to the main, but yeah, his economy is in absolute shambles right now. You can't afford to lose these Zealots for free, brother. Every unit counts in this situation. And now with this massive Hydras, like, if these Hydras go across the map, even with 2 Colossus, they probably just kill everything. Being honest, like, that's probably what happens here. Dire straits for Atlantean, while your Edge is maxed out at 200 supply at an army supply of 136. Atlantean's about to face the full might of the Swarm. Alright, here's the final battle. Hydras are going in. There's so many Hydras. The Colossus and Void Rays fall instantly. And there's the GG. Your Edge takes game 2, and we have ourselves a series. Okay, map 3 is going to be Pylon. All right, we are taking a short break. So I am going to run an ad while your edge needs a 3 or so minute break. I'll see you guys in a couple minutes. Looking like on the other side of the initiate bracket that Ragnar and X Decker are getting a rematch after last week. Just waiting on your edge to get back. So Ragnar and X Decker played, I think, twice last week. With, I believe, X Decker won the first series, and then they met in the finals, and Ragnar took it in Game 5. So those two have a little bit of a rivalry going on. I wonder if we will see them in the finals again. All right, we're getting into Game 3 of this best of 3 series between Your Edge and Atlantean. All right, in the top corner with the Blue Zerg drones just coming off of a dominating performance, we have Your Edge. And in the bottom corner with the red Protoss pieces, we have Atlantean. So I'm not going to say it was a bad game from Atlantean because I truly don't believe that. But there were some areas that could have been, cleaned up a little. The fact that neither player pressured the other player for, 7 or 8 minutes, that always is going to go in favor of Zerg. They can just, spread out, get up to 3 or 4 bases, 60, 70 drones, and then they will smash you with sheer numbers of units. And we saw that as soon as Atlantean tried to get like a third up, Your Edge was there with his full army going, nope, not today. So, normal starts. Gateway Scout sees everything being normal timing. But if I have to say something from, if I want to see something from Atlantean, he either needs to get out some of those splash damage units earlier. Because, it's fine to macro up and get ahead. But you need to start getting out those higher tech units, and especially units with splash damage, a bit earlier. I still have not seen him ever use Storm. And Storm is such a powerful ability right now. Also, he needs to do something to pressure Your Edge early, whether that's Oracles, a couple of Adepts. Your Edge has not been, having that many units early. He had, I think, 9 army supply up until about the 7-minute mark. So, a little bit of early pressure would have been good. Also, you need to get a scout to see if there's some kind of weird all-in coming in, or if this hatchery is actually being used for resources early. Ooh, we got an early Roach War, and we are double gas. This is going to be probably a 2-base all-in with 17 drones. Uh-oh. This is the one game where he listens to me and goes for an Adept to scout. Oh no. Or goes for an Adept. And we have Roaches already on the production tab. I assume this is going to be a 4 Roach or 5 Roach, and Ling just trying to all in. Alright, we need to get up more units, brother. And a battery, but you don't see it. You don't know this is coming. Roaches are already coming across the map. And this is not good for the side of Atlantean. We got Ravagers morphing in, and a bunch of Lings. He is totally unprepared for this all-in. No idea it's coming. You need units, not production structures, brother. Oh, that is so many Lings. You'd probably be able to brute force this just off Lings alone. Yeah, this is GG. This is game over. 2 to 26 army supply. At the point that pylon goes down, there's nothing more you can do. It's maybe a little cynical and sad to say, but at the point where you lose that pylon on your production, the game is lost. This is a very quick win for Your Edge. Atlantean was completely unprepared to deal with this level of aggression. Damn, what an ending to an otherwise fantastic series. Very unfortunate. Alright, we are going to jump right into X-Decker and Ragnar. All right, so we're getting into the other side of the bracket. Exdecker and Ragnar. Looks like Atlantean Scion will play Flesh, I think, in the lower bracket. And then the winner of that will go on to play whoever loses between Ragnar and Exdecker. All right. I don't know if this is game one, game two, what, so I won't put in anything there yet. But in the top corner with the teal Terran SCVs, we have Exdecker. And in the bottom corner with the pink Zerg drones, we have Ragnar. I'll ask them after this what game this is in the series. Damn bumpy minerals. What? Okay. So these two players are very familiar with each other. Very, 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 very familiar with each other. They come up against each other in this league all the time. A little bit of cheeky SCV harass. You don't normally see an SCV hatch block. That's actually how... Oh, he gets the engineering bay too. Oh, that is cheeky. I love to see this. So yeah, Ragnar is doing the right thing, and he is just running off to go and build his his second base at his third, so that he doesn't delay his hatch too much. But that is going to be a hit to his minerals and his production. And it might be time to go and make a Reaper and do a little bit of Reaper harass or something. Except that oh yep, there's the Reaper coming up. Because you have just delayed everything so much for the side of Zerg. I like that cheeky little play from Decker, I have to say. Said on the invite link, it is map 1. Alright, thanks, Flesh. I'll be honest, I did not have a chance to really read the invite. I just saw that they were looking for me, and I clicked on it quickly because I just finished casting the other series. And I was just trying to get in there before they started. So I had not seen because I was just trying to get into the game and get going. But I appreciate you letting me know what game it is. So currently 0-0 for these players. Let me get that overlay off the screen now that we are into the game. So there are no drones here yet. But the Queen is going to be late, so you have an opportunity to get a couple of Zerglings and maybe harass a couple drones. Get a Reaper grenade into the mineral line. Okay, we're going to get one drone goes down. Zerglings are out. Well, you know what? One drone is better than no drones going down. It's something. Alright, second base is coming up for Exdecker. Got a factory and a reactor on that. Barracks. Building another factory, so we're probably looking to play mech, I'm guessing. Or at least to pump out a bunch of Hellions. And Decker came to play. Came out swinging early on in this game 1. Was not satisfied after that loss to Ragnar last week. Alright, we got Hellions on the production tab. Pretty much what I expected. I would maybe consider getting a bunker up if I am Exdecker. Simply because with being set a bit behind, Zerg might look to just all in you. I've seen that happen more than enough times. Uh, 26 to 28 workers, but Terran has mules, and mules are OP. I don't think that there's anyone that will disagree that the amount of extra mining that you get from mules is not OP. It is crazy how much they boost the economy of Terran. Okay, so we've got 3 factories, 2 tech labs, 1 reactor. So I'm assuming we're looking to play like Battle Mech, Cyclone Hellion is my assumption, and maybe to get Infernal Pre-Igniters researched. That's going to be my assumption based off what I can see. Okay, Hellion's going in. It's time to barbecue some drones. Oh, maybe not the best lineup to try and get those Zerglings. Bunch of Zerglings falling. More drones are going to die here. Roaches do pop, but 4 drones and a bunch of Zerglings go down. Now I know that Ragnar doesn't like walling off the front of his base because you can get your evolution chambers and your roach warrens sniped. But especially if a Terran is playing heavy Hellion play, I do think that the wall off is pretty important to prevent them from just drilling into your natural and taking out a bunch of your drones. But now we are on almost even army supply, 28 to 29. But X-Decker is mostly in Hellions. He needs to pump out a tank or 2 or something in case these roaches go across the map. Because if Ragnar doesn't just use them for defense, you know, you could have 15 Hellions and it's not going to matter against this number of roaches. Hellions do basically nothing. They just tickle roaches. Oh, we are getting the, what is it, Magfield accelerators, I think is what the upgrade is called, for these Cyclones, for the lock-on. So yeah, it is going to be like full-on Hellion Cyclone battle mech. But with no tanks, this is going to be dicey to hold. Always got to watch out for that Zerg counterattack, where they just overbuild army supply and they go across the map to hit you in the face. Okay, like that is a lot of roaches. So now we need tanks. Oh, but he's supply blocked. He's supply blocked. We need tanks. We need banshees. Like, if I'm Ragnar, we still go for this. Like, no, but we're just going to go home, it looks like, and drone a bit. We are getting more Cyclones up. Alright, there are the tanks. So there was a window where these Roaches and Ravagers could have probably inflicted some pretty serious damage on X-Decker. With these tanks having finished up, as long as he gets them in position in siege, I don't think that is the case any longer. Especially if we're able to... Oh, no, it's a reactor on the starport. I was thinking that he might be going to get a couple of Banshees, because usually you do play Banshees with mech. But, oh, what is going on here? Maybe we're just going across the map with all of these units. What are we doing here, Decker? What are we doing? Okay, third command center is down on location, or flown to location. So we are at 3 to 4 bases in favor of Zerg, but army supply and even worker supply is very even. And generally as Zerg, you want to be massively up on workers and army supply. We should be transferring some of these units, some of these SCVs from the third to the... from the natural to the third. Alright, Hellions are going across the map. These are going to get intercepted. Or maybe not. They are going to pick off a whole bunch of Hydras, because Hellions actually are good against Hydras. Okay, 2 Zerg drones going down, but we are not microing the Hellions. Oh, 8 drones. 14 drones. Can we see 16 drones? Can I get 18 drones, 19 drones, 20 drones? Nope, just 16. That is a lot of drones going down. And we did get some Hydras that we picked off too. Hydras are light units, so Hellions, which do bonus damage to light, and have the Infernal Pre-Igniters, do a lot of damage to them. We need to get these tanks up and sieged. If these tanks are not sieged, then we are in trouble. Okay, tanks are only sieging now. We still have 3 tanks that are just milling about, not sieged, not doing anything. Oh, that is not good. That is not good. I think that if Decker had those tanks sieged up ahead of time, Ragnar just stands no chance in this fight. Those tanks are so strong. Having to run into that position, taking damage for free before you can even get a shot off. Banshee is also going to be strong against this army. Alright, we are just pumping out more and more mech units for the side of Decker. Yeah, very important to get these geysers up. Still no transfer of these 23 SCVs. We are way oversaturated. 23 out of 12 in the natural. I assume we are likely way oversaturated. Yeah, well, actually not way oversaturated. 11 out of 10 in the main. We need to be looking at a 4th and maybe even a 5th base. Oh, these Hellions are going to get donated. Never mind, Decker is watching. Yeah, Ragnar is up to... Actually, he hasn't rebuilt a ton of those drones that he lost. He's still under on workers from where he was before that Hellion run by. Adrenal glands being researched. We've got Hydralisk move speed on the production tab, and +2/+1 upgrades being researched as well. Meanwhile, we have vehicle plating 2 finishing for X-Decker on the other side of the map. I assume that it was maybe a mistake where he meant to get 2/2 and only got the armor upgrades, which is not great. It's usually better to get damage where possible. Queen gets taken out. Yeah, X-Decker has way more mining going on than Ragnar, but we are so oversaturated on workers. Like, we don't need 82 workers on 3 base economy as Terran. It's so inefficient. Like, we need to be getting a 4th base set up and transferring all of those workers over. Tanks are not sieged. Only sieging up now. Tank on the low ground there is not sieged at all. Alright, somehow Ragnar manages to hold off this attack from X-Decker. Now Decker has to be very careful here about the counterattack that could be incoming. Looks like we constantly making SCVs, which is actually kind of impacting what he can or cannot make, I think, at this point. Like, he has so much going to... Are a bunch of these SCVs just like following one SCV? Oh, they are. How many? 91 workers, Decker! Bro! You have almost half of your possible supply is tied up in workers. If you lose this game, that is going to be the reason why. Because your army, your mech army, and these are units that take a lot of supply. Is so tiny because you have half your supply in workers. Oh, watching the supply drop there. Jesus. 33. He had almost 40 workers on this base alone. I do. I think Decker is about to lose this game, and I think that the main culprit behind it, like, yes, there were misplays, but having half your possible supply tied up in just SCVs, you're never going to be able to win a fight. Mech units are expensive for supply and resources. And the bios come in, Liberator goes down. I do believe that this is game over for Decker. Ragnar taking game 1. And the Zerg Swarm is charging into the main base, and there is a little bit of a chokehold here, or choke point, sorry. But I don't think that it's going to matter at this point. The economy of Decker is in shambles. Alright, game 1 goes to Ragnar. I think Decker had the advantage for most of that game. But he just couldn't quite close it out. And having half his, on 3 bases, having half his worker supply tied up, or half his overall population tied up in worker supply, and it maybe made him look and think that he had more army than he actually did, because a lot of time you base like how well you're doing off of your supply. Oof, what a game. Alright, let's get me into this lobby. Game 2 is on Persephone LE. I don't think I have ever seen this map. It's nice that we have some new maps in the map pool, though. Especially with 3 old maps like Abyssal Reef, King's Cove, and whatever it's called, Neon Violet, that almost always got vetoed anyway. It's nice having a full map pool of new maps. All right, getting into game 2 of this best of 3 series. In the top corner, we have X Decker. Send him your energy and let's get him on the board. And in the bottom corner, we have, with the pink Zerg drones, Ragnar. Now, it's always amazing to me watching the back and forth between... Ooh, let's go. The back and forth between these players. Tournament play is so cool to watch as you get to know your opponents and you see, you know, what their tendencies are, what they like to do. So I love that about tournament play. And these guys have come up against each other plenty of times. Like, they know each other very, very well at this point. So we have hatch, gas, or hatch, pool, no gas yet. Ragnar might be in for a bit of a surprise. This has gone currently unscouted. Overlord is probably just going to miss it too. Alright, the SCV scout going through, sees the timing of the pool. Overlord is just reaching the main base. Just barely misses it. Probably thinks nothing of it just yet. Saw a supply depot. Didn't see the barracks, but that he hasn't gone for the scout yet. He's going to the pillar. Oh, you need the Marines there first. You need the Marines there first, brother. Now Ragnar knows something is up. Get the SCV on the bunker. Get that bunker. If you're going to bunker rush like this, you need to be building that bunker ASAP. Alright, bunch of drones going down. Queen's about to go down. Bunker should be finishing. Oh, lost a Marine. That's not good. More Zerglings incoming. Get to the bunker! Get to the bunker! Alright, now finish the other one. Finish the other bunker. Get the SCV in the bunker. Put the SCV in the bunker. Oh, no! Well, now you can just run back and forth, hit the hatchery, run back to the bunker, hit the hatchery, run back to the bunker. But you gotta pressure this. You gotta keep making Marines. You gotta pressure this. Oh, this is... Okay, Roachborn is coming up. This is on a timer. You need to get this hatchery. You need to keep pressuring it and get the hatchery. Okay, we're building barracks at home. It's like we're trying to transition out of this, but like you are so all in this position usually. Okay, couple of Zerglings got past. Queen goes down again. That's huge. Like, go now. You have to go now. Hit the Queen is dead. Most of his Zerglings are dead. Hit the hatchery. Kill the drones. And Ragnar calls GG. X-Decker takes game 2 with a sneaky cheese. Okay, what a game. All of 4 minutes, but... And then game 3 is... Oh, wait, no, this is the wrong ones. I don't know what their game 3 is. I wasn't here for the vetoes. 1-1, going to game 3 of our best of 3 series. Let's check in. It looks like Flesh beat Atlantean Scion, so we are going to have Primarily Zerg and Terrans left in for the rest of the tournament. Okay. Tokamak LE. I have not seen this map ever, I don't think. Alright, getting into game 3 of this best of 3 series. Alright. In the top corner of Tokamak LE with the teal Terran SCVs, we have X-Decker. And in the bottom corner, we have with the pink Zerg drones, Ragnar, pulling a bit of an extractor trick to start. So both these players are always super back and forth. I never know when I watch one of their games which one of them is going to come out on top. Usually you see them play pretty standardly, though we have a SCV going across the map already, going for a little block. Is there another one going across, or just the one? I think it was just the one. Okay. No, nothing too unusual, but it does delay that hatchery quite significantly, and a little less mining for Ragnar in the early stages. Sometimes these little moves make a huge difference. Okay, Ragnar sending out some scouting overlords. This map looks super familiar. This is just like an updated version of another map, but like what map? I'm not sure. It just looks super familiar to me. Not sure why. Okay, we got the orbital command coming up. Pool going up on the other side of the map. Everything this game has been standard so far. Second barracks coming up for X-Decker. Are we maybe going to do like a 3 Reaper play or something? Do a little bit of harass. My assumption is this isn't going to be like full commit into trying to end the game off of Reapers. But just trying to get a little bit of harass and damage. Game count, it is 1-1. So this is game 3. Okay, a little bit of Reaper harass. We are getting hit by these Zerglings, so we are going to be low. Second Reaper arrives. But the Queen is out, so other than forcing out a couple of extra Lings, maybe this shouldn't really get too much done. Third Reaper is out. Oh, we're going for 5 Reapers. Maybe this is a Reaper all-in. I'd be maybe trying to get into the back of the base, see if you can get some damage done up there. Now, X-Decker is forcing out a lot of Lings from the side of Ragnar, and actually, this is probably a mistake from Ragnar. We do not have Ling speed even started yet at 3 minutes. Maybe went for the early Baneling nest instead, but not having Ling speed against these Reapers gives X-Decker a chance to do a lot of damage. Ooh, if he could snipe the queen, that would have been huge. Drone goes down. Second drone. Third drone? Third drone. Fourth drone. 4 drones going down. If he could have sniped that queen, that would have actually been huge. But he needs to keep the pressure on. Keep trying to hit drones while he macros behind this. That queen is so low. If he can get the snipe. Ling speed is only halfway done. Two more drones going down. Oh, don't get wrapped around. Jump down. Okay, we do lose a Reaper. But all in all, this is a lot of damage early on for the side of X-Decker. Just needs to make sure that behind this he is still macroing, he is still getting SCVs, he's still building. Which that is where I struggle when I'm controlling Reapers. Oh, Ling speed just finished. These Reapers are dead. Alright, the Lings are chasing. 1 Reaper goes down. 2 Reapers go down. The last remaining Reaper. Unless there's a jump pad somewhere, I don't see a way of him getting out. And then we're probably coming in with a Ling counterattack. We have overbuilt on Lings, so we are moving across the map. Decker needs to raise this wall and lift off his buildings here, honestly. Because these Marines are not going to be enough to hold, like, 20 Lings. Alright, block him with the mules, but... No. Oh, it's not raised. A Hellion pops out. Hellion hasn't actually hit anything yet, though. This is disastrous for Decker. Oh, 4 SCVs going down. Now, honestly, the fact that has only been 4 SCVs so far is pretty good in itself, but it's going to be more. 5. Oh, he's morphing Banelings in. Yeah, those aren't going to finish. We've got the mules and the SCVs over here just sitting around, ticking down, doing nothing. Meanwhile, Ragnar on the other side of the map, Decker barely scraping by with basically no mineral income. Ragnar on the other side of the map with a 13k, or not k, 1300 mineral bank. 13k would be insane in any game of StarCraft. Alright, we are not doing any gas mining right now. All of our SCVs are in minerals. Ragnar is going out to take his 3rd base. We're swapping add-ons, building supply depot walls. But those walls only help if they're actually raised. Hit a supply block, called in an orbital drop. Alright. Right now I have no idea what build Decker is going for. He did get some early harass on Ragnar. But due to some misplays, like all the damage he did, I think has kind of been undone, and he took equal amounts of damage in return. Alright, we are getting some walls here. It is 36 to 37 workers, but that won't be even for long. The drone count is likely to explode as soon as this hatchery finishes. Good Liberator harass. Alright, Hellions going across. They run straight into the Banelings! Hydralisks on the production tab. Okay, good burns. Alright, Ling's going out, but they are going to get the wraparound, and these Hellions are going down. So good defense from Ragnar. Alright, the Liberator is going to get donated. Oh, that queen is just barely... No way that queen was in that zone. There is no way. That is actually insane. Alright, we're going to have a Liberator just... Oh, no, it was in range of the queen just barely. You needed to have it back here in the dead space. That is unfortunate. I don't understand, like, the random placement of depots and stuff at some of these bases. Like, yes, I guess that if you have units there defending it, or if you don't, sorry, and the units just get attack moved in, they'll attack these first, yes. But if you have any unit that actually shoots anything, they're going to ignore the depot and just run to go hit the unit that's shooting them. So it's better usually to have a wall off of some kind. And you can actually game the mechanics a little bit based off of knowing how the aggro behavior works. I actually think the Marines win this. If you have... Oh, you don't have stim. Yeah, taking out these queens, huge. Take out that spine before it can finish. No cancel. This is such a scrappy game. Alright, 4 more drones went down. This is such a scrappy game from these two. Decker just constantly hitting Ragnar in the face. You know what they say, everyone has a plan until they get hit in the face. Okay, so we're not even going to try, it looks like, to saturate these right now. Which probably not a bad decision, honestly. Lurkers coming up. I say that as 4 more drones like spawn in. Lurkers coming up. These are Hive Tech Lurkers. I don't know if we have the upgrades done. I may have missed them. Let's see. Do we have... Looks like we just have Burrow done. Not sure if it shows there or not. You know, some Burrow Lurkers will put an end to the Hellion aggression. I have not, historically, seen Terran players in this initiate bracket respond very well to Lurkers. And I think that is largely just due to the main solutions to Lurkers are Liberators and Ghosts, and controlling those is a pain in the ass. I know when I play Terran, I barely ever use Ghosts and Liberators. So, but it does make them very strong options. Alright, Decker, we are starting the oversaturation again in a big way in basically all your bases. So get a 4th base up, and you know, make sure your gases are all actually saturated. I don't want to see 100 workers on 3 bases again. Yeah, I don't think he knows about the Lurkers. I don't think he ever saw them, so if he walks into, you know, a bunch of Lurkers from Ragnar with this army, he is in for a world of pain. Because Marauders, technically good against Lurkers. Also technically bad against Lurkers, because Lurkers deal bonus damage to armored units, and Marauders are armored. Marauders also deal bonus damage to armored units, just like Siege Tanks deal bonus damage to armored units. But are armored themselves. Yeah, there are the lurkers. He sees them now. Marauders to the front, tanking the Bane hits. Good focus fire on the Banes. Scan goes down so he can see the lurkers, but yeah, burrow that Widow Mine. Nope, too late. On the side of Ragnar, you don't want to be pushing these Hydras in without your lurker support. And Tank kind of just left to die there. Still good pressure from X-Decker. We are now at 153 to 106 supply, but you know Zerg can remax very quickly typically. He's got 4 hatcheries, 5th one on the way. Don't lose the medevacs for free. Keep sending, rally the units across, get some planetaries up in choke points. Right now, this is X-Decker's game to lose. Oh, big Widow Mine connection! Does he not have an armory? Oh, no, he does. There must have been an overseer or something. Or he unburrowed it? Not sure. Because he shouldn't have been able to see that Widow Mine if there was an armory up. Good couple of Vikings to snipe these overlords. Oh no! It's 7 health! Just kill it! Just kill it! Come on! It's right there, seeing your entire army! Kill the fucking overlord! There we go. Pop goes the balloon. I don't... Oh, no, that was... There's a Liberator. I was like, why are we pulling all our drones into the army? Oh, well, we are sniping a bunch of the larvae there, but I don't think that's that impactful. We did lose a couple Liberators, but it's more harass. Drones are still not back on this base. We are getting 3-2 upgrades, ranged upgrades for Zerg. And currently, we only have 1-1 on the side of Decker. Now, that upgrade difference, especially with a unit like Lurkers, is going to be huge. Now, remember how I said this was Decker's game to lose? Decker has this really bad habit of punching Ragnar in the face and not being able to finish the job. He's at 133 army supply right now to 84. So if you can get, maybe not necessarily, though actually these Liberators are putting in work, but like a Marine drop into the back of the base while you hit him in the face at the front, like there's all sorts of things that we can do here. I do think that Ragnar is slowly bleeding out in this contest. You know, we've got more command centers going up for Decker. Oh, this choke. That's nasty. That is really slowing his army down here. But this hatchery is almost dead unless we get like some transfuses on it, which is probably not going to happen. Main is almost mined, or almost entirely mined out. We've got 2 minerals left. Natural is getting mined out, and I mean, there's a lot of banelings here, and we're morphing in more lurkers. But if he hits before these lurkers finish, like, ooh, that's a lot of damage. And the Banes go rolling in. Tank is not sieged again. Tank's sieging up now. We need another scan. This is a lot of damage to both sides, but we're running into lurkers. However, that being said, X-Decker has a 4,000 mineral bank. But we need to get some of these SCVs transferred over to bases that are not massively oversaturated. Alright, Ragnar is getting another base. Right now, the supply advantage for the first time in a long time is actually in favor of X-Decker. Sorry, in favor of Ragnar instead of X-Decker. Come on, let's get a proper saturation. 16 out of 4 is what we have in our natural. Get them over to your 4th. 22 out of 8. Take a base. Float a command center. Oh, you've just turned those into planetaries. But and now X-Decker's entire bank is spent. Uh-oh. These Liberators are going to get sniped. But he does get the early warning on what's coming. Like, you probably... Oh. Are we not going to press in? We should be pressing in. No, why are you dropping mules at a base that the command center isn't even done? When you know the Zerg army is right around the corner. Seismic spines finishing. That is the increased lurker range. Can you interference matrix lurkers? Yeah, honestly, if he could have gone and hit this with like a drop or something while he was distracting on the other side of the map, or hit the main base and take out those queens, and Ultra Cavern is up and researching. Yeah, the momentum was very heavily in X-Decker's favor. And I feel like it has really shifted back to Ragnar because of these lurkers and giving him a chance to rebuild when you had a huge, massive advantage on him. Like, the workers are even now. The army supplies even. Both players are maxed out. And quite honestly, Ragnar should never have been allowed to get back into this position. Okay, so do we base trade this? We can lift this off and fly it away. A couple of planetaries are going to go down, but we are base trading. And I feel like Ragnar is going to go back to try and match the base trade. Yes, get our tanks set up. Make him come into your fortified position. We're not really focus firing anything, which isn't great. And we are getting absolutely shredded by these ultras and these lurkers. Oh no. That is, watching an army supply drop from 100 to 30 is crushing. And now Ragnar just goes across the map with whatever he's got to punch Decker in the face. Ragnar has remaxed. He's got 3/3 upgrades. The upgrades are also huge in this. And Decker really has nothing to actually deal with those Ultralisks. There's no ghosts. There's a Ghost Academy being built. We maybe get some Liberators if we can get some Liberators sieged and funnel them in with siege tanks and libs to these planetaries over here. Alright, the Ultras are going in. They are tearing apart these planetary fortresses. The SCVs are coming to try and repair, but they are too late. Planetary Fortress 1 goes down. Command Center 2 that could have been lifted off goes down. The Ultras are making the way for the rest of the Zerg army. Liberator siege. But I just don't think that there is enough here for X-Decker to hold this attack from Ragnar. Ultralisks and Lurkers leading the way. And GG is called. Game 3 goes in favor of Ragnar. I feel that Ragnar is just so good at getting back into these games where he shouldn't be allowed to. Okay, let's see if I can find your edge. Doesn't look like he is online. And then it will be Ragnar and Flesh in the lower, or sorry, not Ragnar, X-Decker and Flesh in the lower bracket. All right, while we're in the menus, let's run an ad while we try to find the next opponent for Ragnar. Get out my notepad because I don't know these new maps all that well. Your Edge versus Ragnar for game or series semifinals, I guess. Okay, it looks like Pylon, Torches, Persephone. Last Fantasy. Incorporeal, and Maganatha are our vetoes. First is Leylines, Tokamak, and then I guess that means Ultra Love is the ace. So Leylines. Bug fixes. I think Central is the best for these two. Because one is in Europe and one is in Australia. All right. All right, getting into this next best of 3 series. We have Your Edge and Ragnar, so it is a ZVZ mirror matchup. Game 1 on ley lines. All right. In the top corner with the blue Zerg drones, we have Your Edge. And in the bottom corner with the pink Zerg drones, we have Ragnar. I always have so much trouble getting a read on like how things are going in a ZVZ. These games always, really any mirror matchups, feel like they are balanced on the edge of a knife, and that they can go any way at any time. It's like both players are expanding pretty normally. Extractor tricks. We get a slightly faster expand out of Ragnar, because I think he cut a drone for it. It's currently only at 13 supply to 15 for Your Edge. All right. Spawning pool goes down, spawning pool goes down. Everything here looking pretty much the stock standard. But sometimes, little advantages, little supply advantages, a little faster timing on something can be all of the difference in a mirror matchup. So we will have to see how things shake down and shake out. We do have a slightly faster pool and a slightly faster hatchery for Ragnar. Alright, supply is going up for Your Edge, 27 to 20. Massively faster supply, but Ragnar is taking a quick third, to try and secure that economic advantage. Now, a lot of the time when I play into Zerg in a ZVZ, I try to 2-base all in a lot of cases, like a Ling Flood or a Roach all in. And especially like at the 3-minute mark, I feel it is almost essential to wall off this part of your natural with Evo Chambers and a Roach Warren and stick a Queen in it so that you can't just get Ling flooded. Alright, now Your Edge might get a misread here, where he might think, oh no, he did see the hatchery, never mind. He saw the hatchery, just barely, probably on the edge of his Ling's vision. So that's why, Ragnar's going to have less economy at this point. Baneling Nest going down, Macro Hatch going down, so this is going to be a 2-base all-in from the side of Your Edge. Which I really feel it's going to be very important for Ragnar to get a Roach Warren up. I feel like maybe playing Ling Bane is not the best idea here, especially when, both sides are going to have ping issues, playing from Europe and Australia. Yep. So you can see Your Edge is getting this wall off. This is, in my opinion, like the right thing to do because you can stick a queen in it, and it stops just Ling Floods from ending the game and decimating your worker line. But Ragnar continuing with his Evos in the main. Now, if things continue like this, and both players kind of play no rush 10 minutes, Ragnar is in the better spot. 3 hatcheries, 3 bases. Your Edge has 3 hatcheries, but doesn't have the same economy. Now, he is pumping out roaches now, so he is going for that 2-base roach all-in style that a lot of Zergs like to play in ZVZ. Ragnar, on the other hand, is holding down the drone button. Though somehow, despite everything, your Edge is up in supply. He was, until just now, up in workers. But the roaches and the banelings are coming across the map. Ragnar doesn't even have a baneling nest, a roach warren. So these banelings will take care of any of his Zerglings that he sends in to try and defend this. This is probably game. You need to try saving these drones. Run the drones away at least, And if I'm your Edge, I keep sending, roaches across the map, because you should be able to just win from this position, right? If you rally roach reinforcements across the map, though there is no roach speed, so... Oh, these roaches get caught, but the reinforcements are here. We are getting 1-1 up melee armor upgrades from the side of Ragnar right now. But losing this hatchery was actually huge. Ragnar is really far behind now, and he held on. He caught a couple of roaches, but I don't think, with 4 hatcheries of production to 2, I don't think he can get back into this. And I think not having that earlier roach warren was a huge mistake on his part. Okay. Banelings morphing. And yeah, the Banelings will take care of most of the Zergling defense. Oh, got a couple of Ravagers. Or a Ravager, I should say. And those Banelings really aren't going to do much against the roaches. But the fact that they got the rest of the Banelings, that's actually huge. So Ragnar able to hold on here. Maybe get us around, maybe pick off a few more roaches as he tries to leave, because he does not have roach speed completed for the side of your Edge. Really needs to get that roach speed finished. But still, your Edge is in the better economic position. It feels like Ragnar is on the back foot in most of these engagements. Okay. So we've got Lings. Oh no, don't send these Lings in by themselves. Okay. I was like, you gotta make sure. One thing I see a lot of Zerg players doing, and Terran players, is that they don't wait for their army to actually, get together. They just send it in, piece by piece. Oh, we have Baneling speed done for Ragnar. Ragnar's upgrades have been significantly better, I have to say. Roach speed just finished. He might pull a rabbit out of the hat here, but he needs to be focus firing these roaches down. Now, he does have speed, and your Edge still has not completed roach speed. But I do feel like pushing into the space with defender's advantage, that's probably a bridge too far. Getting a little bit greedy. Both players' upgrades are even except for the speed upgrades. Your Edge starting up 2-2 ranged and armor upgrades now. But unfortunately, Ragnar has not really been able to deal any damage to your Edge's economy, and it's 60 to 48 workers. So like I said, he's been kind of pulling a rabbit out of his hat in terms of holding these engagements where I felt like he has kind of perpetually been on the back foot. He's not very often been the aggressor. He's kind of been having to react to what your Edge is doing. But that being said, he has managed to hold on very well. Now, this is going to be a problem that your Edge has set up a nasty timing. He's going to have 2-2 and roach speed finishing at the same time, whereas Ragnar has only just started +2 missile upgrades, which will give him a really nasty opportunity to attack with a huge roach ball. And like we have a lot of lings and banelings here, and I don't really know why. I don't necessarily see the point in having this many lings and banes in what has been proving to be mostly a roach on roach kind of battle. So I feel like, he'd be better off with more roach and ravagers for some like AoE maybe. So these banes are, they're getting something done, they're getting some splash, but at the end of the day, this roach ball is much bigger. Okay, we are getting some biles. Alright, but still, I think Ragnar is losing the roach fight here. He just does not have more roaches beats less roaches. Your upgrades are even. More roaches always beats less roaches. And there's still more Zerglings on the production tab for the side of Ragnar. 20 Zerglings. And it's not like we have adrenal glands yet, or like +3/+3. So I don't really see the point of building this many Zerglings in this matchup. Especially when you know the enemy is going like heavy into roaches. It would make more sense to go up to Hydras and Lurkers than it would to keep building this many Zerglings. Alright, we are morphing in Ravagers, but the Roach Ball is here. It's 117 army supply to 36. This is going to be GG right here. It took us a lot longer than I expected to get to this point. But yeah, GG is called. And game 1 goes to your Edge. Alright, game 2 is on Tokamak. Might not have included Ragnar in the... Who's showing is busy. There we go. Waiting on the ready from both players. And we are getting into game 2. Ragnar versus your Edge. All right. In the bottom corner with the blue Zerg drones, we have your Edge. And in the top corner with the pink Zerg drones, send them your energy. Let's get them on the board. In this series, we have Ragnar. It's interesting watching this. I think there was just some misreads in the previous series. Not sure how these players are going to play this one out. Ragnar already starting his hatchery. Gets it going a little bit before your Edge does. Might be able to get up his pool a little bit earlier. I think he went for a 14 supply hatch. Are we going to extractor trick? And then there's not really much point if you've already got the Overlord about to pop, I think, in extractor tricking. You may have been better going off for your pool, but I'm not a Zerg main. You do you, and if it works, it works. Alright, pool down for Ragnar, pool down for your Edge. We need to see an extractor for Ragnar. And there goes the extractor. Alright, so everything so far is about as standard as it can possibly be. Hatchery is about to pop for both players. Get some more drones. Wait, are we doing a hidden base? For who? Oh, we are hiding our third base, which maybe Ragnar noticed it with the Overlord Scout, but probably not. So this time it is your Edge that is fast expanding. And I don't know how much of a fan I am of fast expands in ZVZ. A lot of the time, I see that because you have to invest that into, the extra base instead of army supply, it does have a tendency to leave you a little bit vulnerable at times. Got the Baneling Nest already coming up for your Edge, which I think is very smart because it should help protect him from any Ling floods. That's part of why I am a fan in ZVZ of just going straight into roaches and going for 2-base roach all-ins. Hey! Ragnar's walling off! This will protect him from the Ling floods. He just needs to make sure that he can actually get out and that it's not a full wall, unless he's looking to do like a 2-base muta or something, which I assume is not the case here. Oh no, he saw the Lings going across the map. So this is why you also typically need... Oh, is this a full wall? I think this is a full wall. I don't think that there's a space between there. So yeah, you can go with a Baneling bust, but it's going to cost you a bunch of your Banelings. We need to get some roaches up. I assume that this is in response to having seen... Oh, he might not have seen what was coming. He might have just been planning to go for a Nidus the entire time. And here comes the Banelings. It's going to be... Oh, nope. Goes to the Queen. But I just don't know that Ragnar has the army to fight this off. Ugh, those Baneling connections on Zerglings are just devastating. And yet now we are just Ling flooding across the map on 3 bases. Whoa, what was the plan here, I wonder? Swarm hosts? Yeah, it was swarm hosts. I like the cheeky idea but he just was not prepared to be hit in the face by your edge, and your edge takes the series 2-2. Sorry, 2-0. I don't know why I said 2-2. All right. So it looks like, looking at the bracket, that the rest of the games are going to be ZVZ. We have left in the tournament Flesh, Ragnar, and Your Edge. So our lower bracket final is going to be Ragnar versus Flesh, and the winner will face off against Your Edge in a best of 5. Your Edge has been pretty dominant today, from what I've seen. I don't know if these two chatted beforehand about what map they were playing or what, or if, Ragnar has just picked the map. Alright, Flesh needs to take a bio break, which sounds like time for an ad break, since we'll have a little bit of time. I will also go grab a drink. I will be right back. Okay. Alright, looks like we are into vetoes. So, torches, tokamak. The best of one. So we're going to have 8 vetoes to determine what the map is. Maganatha. I wonder if it was made by the guy that made Jagannatha. Pylon. Okay. I would be very curious if Last Fantasy gets through. Persephone. 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, I assume it's just going to wind up going to ley lines, but Ultra Love. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 more vetoes. So we've got ley lines, Last Fantasy, and Incorporeal left. Incorporeal. So like I said, I assume we're going to ley lines because I don't think someone's going to play Last Fantasy. Oh, shit. Which means we are going to Last Fantasy. Oh, I didn't get the logo set up, the Amateur League logo for Flesh. I thought I said it. Whoops. I'm sorry. Alright, so the really cool thing about Last Fantasy is that this is a 3-player map. Alright, so with the pink Zerg drones in this best of one, we have Ragnar. And with the purple Zerg drones, we have Flesh. So this is a really interesting map. It is a 3-player map, which means there are 3 locations that the players could start in. And it looks like they are both going to scout each other right off the bat. But if someone had been over here, that could throw them off a bit. And these scouting paths have started before my streams have even updated. So, we're on a delay. They can't have seen it on the stream. But they're just going to get lucky and scout each other, though. Do they see the Overlord? Yes, they might. I think Flesh at least saw it. I don't know if Ragnar saw it. So Flesh knows that his opponent is here for sure. I don't know if Ragnar saw it or not. Ragnar is going for a early pool. It wasn't a 12 pool, but it was definitely early. But Flesh is going to see that there is no, there's no base. So Ragnar is going for that old, cheddar, that cheese. So Flesh now knows, he knows what's going on. And he knows the moment this pops, he needs to get Zerglings and he needs to get probably Spine Crawlers. Because we are going for a Ling Flood, a one base Ling Flood from the looks of it. Oh, are we supply blocked for Flesh? We're pretty much supply blocked. But he needs to start getting up defenses. Like, he should know. Like, now he sees. Please tell me he sees this. He should have seen it. Yeah, Spinecrawler goes down, but that's so late. And there's no Zerglings in production. Yeah, the Ling Flood is coming. Now we do have Spine Crawlers up. So, with 2 spines, honestly, we should have a pretty good defense here. And now Ragnar, he's kind of locked into this. Ling speed is close to finishing. But a good scout from Flesh, seeing what was coming. Alright, Ling speed is done. Flesh, you need to have these close to home. Oh no. All of Flesh's Lings get caught outside of the base. Oh, it's a disaster. Oh, this was looking like it would have been fine for Flesh. He had the Spine Crawlers. He had a good number of Lings. He had multiple Queens. And now it's just doomed. Why, when you know you're getting cheesed, are you expanding to a third base, my guy? And now there's just going to be more and more Lings on the way from the side of Ragnar. We are down to 12 Lings on the side of Flesh. Now, I don't know if Ragnar can actually finish this off like this, but this should give him an opportunity to, macro a bit himself. He's done a ton of damage, but I don't know if this is game-ending damage. 2 more drones go down. Flesh is pulling the drones. Okay, yep, no, this is game. Never mind, I lied. And this, the lack of minerals for troops and for defenses, I think, and pulling his Lings outside of the base, that was what led to downfall. Damn. Sad ending for Flesh in this tournament. But Ragnar takes the lead and will be facing off against Your Edge for the rematch in the finals. All right, looks like we are getting the rematch between Ragnar and Your Edge in a ZVZ. So starting off with Tokmak. Veto number 2. Torches. Ley lines. So this will be 2 vetoes each, and then 5 map picks. Last Fantasy. All right. Just making sure that all right, map 1 is Ultra Love. Was Ultra Love not the first map pick? So Incorporeal. Persephone. So we've got Pylon and Ultra Love left. Pylon and Ultra Love is the ace. All right. Best of 5 series between a ZVZ. Ragnar versus Your Edge. I think that I casted a previous final between these two. But that was on the old map pool. All right. So in the top corner of Maganatha, we have, with the pink Zerg drones, Ragnar. And in the bottom corner, with the blue Zerg drones, we have Your Edge. Okay. So let's see a nice clean game from these two players. Yeah, right. And there's a drone going across the map already. Okay. Hatchery starts for Your Edge. Looks like we're getting a proxy hatch for Ragnar. We don't yet have a spawning pool in production, though. Need to get that up ASAP. Alright, I assume this is going to be some kind of Ling Flood, based off the fact that we are going for a gas. Still no spawning pool. Alright, spawning pool just starts. It's going to be a bit behind Your Edge's spawning pool. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah. I feel like this late spawning pool is going to be an issue. Because he won't be able to start producing Zerglings as soon as this hatchery pops. Meanwhile, Your Edge will already start his queens and his safetyling production. So, I don't know. I feel like this late spawning pool is going to be a pretty huge problem. And he scouts the proxy. Yikes. Spine crawler starting already. And like I said, you know, no Zerglings were in production. There's already 6 Zerglings out, or 8 Zerglings out for Your Edge. And he's going to go run them straight to the hatchery. Alright, now this hatchery can take a bit of damage. But it's important for Ragnar to go and group his lings together. If he doesn't group his lings up, they're just going to get slaughtered. Alright, now we have 6 lings. We have a queen. We can go for this. Get a couple of lings. Ragnar will have ling speed finished first. Okay, maybe don't chase him into the base, though. Yeah, those 2 spine crawlers are going to put an end to your hopes of offense there. Baneling Nest also being produced. Ragnar is on a timer with this, but he will have his ling speed finished in probably about 30 seconds or so. That is a lot of lings. Alright, now we're getting... Are we doing like a spine crawler? A like delayed spine crawler rush? Like, what's the plan here? This is taking so long. Oh no, we're just mining? But this is taking so long that, you know, banelings are up for the side of Your Edge, and this offense basically stops here. Unless you just ignore this hatchery, use it as bait. That's exactly what he's doing. He's going to try to snipe the baneling nest. I feel like you should have gone like drones and main. Like that probably would have been the better way of doing this, but what do I know? Alright, we get a surround because the lings don't have, or sorry, the banelings don't have speed. You should fight that. You have the numbers, I think. Yeah. And mirror matchups are so weird because it's like I've heard like Loco and some other casters and Zergs talk about it, where it's like if you're playing a ZVZ and you have both sides go for like Mutalisks, and the side with one more Mutalisk or like 3 more Mutalisks wins every time, but they don't win by like a little bit. They win by a huge amount. Mirror matchups are weird. But I do think like this attack has been completely stopped by your edge. Ragnar's building a macro hatch, but like if anything, you should build down here and hope to expand at this point. Because the only thing that having this macro hatch does means that you cannot... Oh! Can we see... Oh, I can't rewind. It's not a replay. But I think that, you know, Ragnar just lost a bunch of Banes there to less Banes, but I could be wrong. And now the Lings are in the main. This is pretty much game. Like, the economy's gone. This should just be game because I don't think that Ragnar can all in off of the position he's in. He has less army supply than your edge. He's got 4 workers to 21. It was a good attempted cheese, but it just fell flat, unfortunately. There's really no way back into this game, I don't think, for Ragnar. But I've said that before, and he has surprised me many times. Ooh. Good connection on that Baneling. But yeah, there's no economy. He actually has the army supply edge right now, but with the 2 spines, I don't think he can do anything with that army supply advantage. In my opinion. If he battles back into this, I will quite honestly be amazed. Oh, those Banes are so slow waddling along. But like 5 or 6, whatever, however many Banes there are here, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 2 Banes just took out your 5 Banes. These couple of Banes that are here will take out everything you have for your army. Now maybe you can get a good connection onto the worker line. Ooh, 11 drones going down. That is massive. But your edge was at 40 drones. He's down to 29 now while you're at 11. All right, we are keeping up the offense. So, you know, your edge hasn't been able to push past to go and get into Ragnar's base to actually end this. But I just don't know what Ragnar's win condition in this game actually is. And now the roaches are coming out. Like, I don't know how he wins this game. And even if your edge is taking, at times, inefficient trades, he has the economy to do so. Okay, I think this is the last Hail Mary for Ragnar. And there's the GG! Good attempt. You know, Kev, maybe I should make one of them a boo. That was an interesting game, that is for sure. Might be fun to go and just vary it up a little bit with that. Hope you're having a good day, buddy. I know you streamed pretty late last night. Next map is Incorporeal. A bit of chatting going on. Waiting to get into the action once more. Yeah, I have an overlay that lets me upload sound bites for player intros, and I can change them out, but it's also a little bit of a pain, and I can only have one thing listed at a time, like one sound effect for it at a time. So. Nice, nice. All right, we got a little bit of chatting going on. All right, we are getting into game number 2 of this best of 5 series between Your Edge and Ragnar. All right, in the bottom corner with the blue Zerg drones, we have Your Edge. And in the top corner, send him your energy. Let's get him on the board and make this a series. We have Ragnar. All right, so both these guys are very strong players. Ragnar, I think, has been trying to cheese a little bit, see if he can catch your edge off guard, but your edge has been rock solid in how he's responded to the aggression from Ragnar. These players are both going to be playing with some ping issues because your edge is from Europe. I want to say Spain or somewhere around that area, and Ragnar is from Australia. So huge regional difference there. But we've got some fantastic games of StarCraft so far. Now, Zerg versus Zerg is always a bit of a weird matchup, and I always struggle to tell who is actually winning in these games. So we'll see if we can get anything that's a little surprising out of these two players. So far, just standard openings: hatch, gas, pool. Hatch, no gas, but a pool. So I assume we'll see that extractor built in just a moment for the side of Ragnar. Looks like he is already saturating his natural. Ragnar has not seemed to be playing the strategies that have brought him some success in the past from what I've seen. Either like going for mass amounts of roach, or quick teching up to lurkers. I think in all of these series we've seen so far, Hydra Lurker would have been pretty strong. So we'll see if we get any adaptations so far, as lurkers are typically a staple of Ragnar's army compositions, and they have been absent in this series. Whoops, I turned on something else by accident. How do I get my production tab back? Oh, well. Finger twitched, and I lost my production tab. There's a hotkey for it, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Alright, we are going for a fast expand from Ragnar. This did not work out so well for him the last time he tried it, as your edge rammed a whole bunch of Roach Ravager down his throat. Oh, and it looks like this is going to get scouted. Which is unfortunate, because now Ragnar knows, sorry, your edge knows that he can either go for an easier 2-base all-in, or that there won't be the same amount of units coming out of Ragnar. It also means that he could just go for an expand himself. But what I think we're going to see instead is we're going to see a whole bunch of Zerglings get rallied across the map. Metabolic boost, the Zergling speed upgrade is just about to finish, and you are not going to see, you're either going to not see this hatchery finish, or there's going to be a significant amount of pressure put on. Now, part of the problem here is that metabolic boost for Ragnar is only half done. So if Ragnar sends all his army over to defend this, well, your edge just runs around his slow Zerglings and goes and kills a bunch of, his economy or his queens. We're also, down 5 workers, though our army supply is even between the two of them. But Baneling's coming out for the side of your edge. That's part of why I always try to rush into... a little bit of miscontrol, I think, on the Banelings there. Where they just went, straight into the hatchery. Or the larva or something. And, yeah, this hatchery is going to fall again. But yeah, Ling Bane is so common. Oh, wait, we have two Baneling nests? That must have been a mistake. Ling Bane is so common from Zerg. And, one Baneling takes out so many freaking Zerglings that it's why I rush out Roach Ravager typically. Because your Roaches can tank those Baneling hits. And you have to really micro and really be good with your control to not just lose everything to a couple of Banelings when you are playing Ling Bane. Good pressure early from your edge. Get that overlay off the screen because it's still up there. Okay, we can see the income, units. structures. Units lost. That's a good one to bring up. Amateur League logo in the center of the map. Upgrades. Production. There we go. Got my production tab back up. Yeah, we got a bit of a wall off here. Not like a full wall by any means, but enough to slow down any like Ling run-bys. You can kind of plug this space a little bit. Roach Ravager Hydra or Roach Hydra Lurker would be strong here. But I also get trying different things and trying new things, or maybe Ragnar's been having success on the ladder playing Ling Bane, but your Edge has been doing so good at deflecting everything when he tries to play that way in these 1v1s. Now, European Zergs typically are a lot more macro focused. Like, I found when I went over to the European server and played a couple of games over there, this being a while ago, this was not recent, but everyone there plays like super macro heavy compared to NA. On the NA servers, you get tons of cheese, 2-base all-ins, whatever. So I find that usually catches Europeans off guard, but their macro play is usually better than a lot of NA players. All right, we finally have the Roach Warren up. We're getting a macro hatch. So we have 4 hatcheries up from, or will have 4 hatcheries from Ragnar. Your Edge currently has 4 1-1 upgrades, ranged upgrades, I should specify, 1-1 ranged upgrades. So we're going into that Roach Ball mid-game, and it's going to be very important to get some Hydras out, I think. Hydra Lurker, or mix even just some Lurkers in with your Roaches, is going to be huge. But I don't think you're going to have time for that. You need more Roaches right this second, my guy. Oh, Ragnar, again, he is so greedy holding down this drone button when he's behind. And I understand. But the army supply is 64 to 29, and you just made a round of drones. You are in for a world of pain when this army arrives at your doorstep. You need to be producing army right this second. Oh, more drones! No! Oh, this is probably GG. This is probably GG for your Edge, I imagine. That because Ragnar has nothing to hold off this 68 supply army that is running at him, that he doesn't even really realize is there. So it isn't grouped up. Now, actually, it has... The fact that it's not grouped up and there's no Roach speed, this actually gives Ragnar a chance to hold this. The Roach flank coming in, and the Roach Ball from your Edge is just bigger than the Roach Ball from Ragnar. We're mixing Zerglings into our army composition again. Yeah, this should be just the case where, despite Defender's advantage, your Edge should have enough units coming across the map. Now, it's unfortunate that Roach speed isn't done yet, but it will be soon. Now, Defender's advantage is huge. It does balance this out a bit, but here's the reinforcements. And no, your Edge, your Roach Ball is still bigger. But, to be fair, it is not as big a difference as it had been. And now Ragnar should see these guys all over here. He knows that he needs to just be building army right now. What are we getting here? Hydraless Den. And the Roach fight continues. Oh, there's a whole bunch of... The surface area is smaller for Ragnar. There were a whole bunch of his Roaches just derping around in the back and not actually hitting anything. There was no focus fire. Yeah, this is not looking good. Your Edge is just taking everything he wants in this series. All right, a little bit of a wall off while we will wait for the reinforcements up the ramp, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough. Drones going down. 13 drones go down between the two bases being attacked here. Zerglings in the mineral line. More reinforcements just streaming across the map. And with this current army composition, I don't think there's anything Ragnar can do to stop the bleeding. And GG! A dominating performance from your Edge in this second game. Alright, our third map is going to be Persephone. Alright. So Persephone, and then if we go further, it will be Pylon and Ultralove. Alright, looks like our players need a quick break. And Ragnar is a trooper for playing in these from Australia. It is currently, according to Google, 6:02 AI, or sorry, AM, AI, AM in Australia right now. Oh, I should update that score in my overlay. Yeah, I forgot that Microsoft bought out Blizzard Activision, but it would be nice if they would fix the myriad of bugs and glitches in this game, but they probably won't. I can dream, though. I can dream. Alright, looks like your edge is back. Alright, hopefully we can get into this game. Game 3 of our best of 5 series. Good to know that's how you fix that bug with showing the wrong league, is you just go and leave it and play another game. I had no idea that was even a thing. Alright, countdown has started. Getting into game number 3 between Ragnar and Your Edge. Your Edge currently up 2-0 in this series, and won the previous series that they played, a best of 3, 2-0. Persephone LE. This is such a weird map, too. Alright. In the top corner, looking to get on the board in this best of 5 series, send him your energy, we have Ragnar. And in the bottom corner with the Blue Zerg drones, we have Your Edge, currently leading this series 2-0. Alright. So we have a 12 pool coming out of the side of Ragnar. Looks like we're going for a Ling Flood pool into Extractor. So we want to get that gas for Ling Speed right away. But this is a very short distance for scouting because the Overlords just fly straight over. So I don't know about doing this on this map, but actually it's a pretty short rush distance. So it might work out, but as soon as... Oh, the natural's on the other side. He's not going to be able... It's going to take him a bit of time to actually scout if there's a natural or not, assuming he doesn't just fly straight into the base, anticipating some kind of cheese out of Ragnar. Okay, pool is just going down for your edge. But we are not producing Zerglings the moment that the pool finished, so any delays when you are doing a cheese are absolutely massive. Now, maybe this isn't a 12 pool all-in, maybe this is just a 2-base Ling Flood. And if that is the case, you know, we might be holding off until Ling Speed finishes and not going for the immediate all-in. I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, we are getting the scout from your edge, seeing exactly what's going on. So he knows something weird. We're going to see a Spine Crawler go down immediately. Yup, that is the right move. Pool finished. We got Zerglings being made. We got a Spine Crawler down. Now maybe we're just baiting some response, and oh, your edge is supply blocked because he lost the Overlord, but so is Ragnar is also supply blocked, or was. Overlord just finished. So maybe we are just baiting some kind of a response, and we're not actually looking to all in at all. But the fact that we only have 10 workers, well, I guess 18 now, says that's probably not the case. So both players are even. They have the same number of workers right now. You know, sometimes you just do weird little moves like this and it throws your opponent off. Certainly not the worst thing in the world, but I would say that it does generally put you a little bit behind your opponent. Metabolic Boost is finishing up. It appears we are not doing a 2-base Ling Flood. Ooh, that is a lot of Lings, though. One thing I think Ragnar maybe didn't account for is just how much your edge overproduced army. And that is typically what Zerg does, is whenever there's any kind of an attack, a cheese, whatever, they overproduce army, and then they go and they hit you in the face with it after they've held the attack. In this case, there was no attack. And again, your edge is much faster on the Baneling Nest, and much faster on the tech structures than Ragnar is. And this is going to hit like a truck. It's all about microing these Banelings. Okay, Banelings are gone. Send your units in. Let's go. But so many drones falling here. You know, five drones is not a ton of damage, but it does even up the drones between the two players. Ragnar over-droned a bit, played pretty greedily, and your edge was like, you know what, I've got all these Zerglings, I'm going to go and hit you in the face. But again, we're getting into these Ling Bane like fights, and Ragnar hasn't been winning these. Ragnar is always, it always feels like he is a step behind your edge in terms of tech structures, in terms of, you know, getting the unit out that will allow him to, you know, take control of the map. In the last games, your edge has Banelings first. He has Roaches first. Like, the Roach Warren is already coming up, there is no Roach Warren for Ragnar. Ragnar has an answer for it, but a lot of the play has been, and on 2 bases, I don't know about this decision. But I guess we will see. ZVZ is honestly such a tough matchup, though. Like, a lot of the time when I played Zerg, when I off-raced in Initiate, I would just look to 2-base all in with Roach Ravager, or like Roach Ravager Hydra. I could not be asked to play the Ling Bane and Micro, all of that, because one Baneling ends all of these Zerglings' careers. Alright, so this could definitely work, but it needs to go unscouted, for one thing. And, like, I guess Ragnar is going to... Yeah, he's been saving up. But like I said, it's really important that this does not get scouted. And with it at the front of your base, just a Ling running by is going to see. You need to move this back and like hide it back here. Okay, they popped, but now you need them for defense. Oh, he might see it. Oh no, he doesn't see the flippy flappies. There it is. Alright, now we do have... holy shit, that is a lot of roaches. The mutas will clean this up. But the question is how much damage is dealt before they do. Now, the roaches are not focusing Lings. Like, if you're going in for something like this, I almost think that you have to focus the... sorry, not the Lings, the drones. 0 drones went down and all of that. And now there's all these mutas going for the counterattack. But the Spore Crawlers are up. So how much will these mutas actually get done now? But you have to go. You have to go and try to get something done with these mutas before all these Spore Crawlers are up. And if you're doing these +1 researches, you gotta go and build more. You gotta keep pumping out these mass numbers of mutas. Now, are we going to see Hydras or something out of... Okay, can't see the Spore Crawlers through all of the Overlords. This is a strategy that Rogue has been using lately, where he just masses Overseers in the late game, so you can't see what's underneath them. Man, so many mutas going down. This is why I typically don't like playing mutas, by the way, as a Zerg, because I always lose them and get like nothing done. But you will find that the mutas are good against these roaches, because roaches, to nobody's surprise, can't shoot up. Now we do have Hydralisks out, but I feel like the best chance for Ragnar to win this game has now kind of slipped away. But I have said this before and been proven wrong. Now, that being said, your edge is still completely all in. And Hydralisks are weak against Banelings. So, you might be able to just play Mutiling Bane into this now and actually have a winning composition if you can prevent him from expanding. You need to get your expansions up and make sure your economy is better. But if you can keep him kind of soft contained to 2 bases, there's some hope. It's just can you keep him soft contained? And right now, your edge has 70 army supply. He's not looking to expand. He's not even trying. He is just going to try to hit Ragnar in the face with as many units as possible. And despite this, by the way, despite going up to a 3rd base, your edge still has a worker advantage on Ragnar. But here comes the army. That is a lot of roaches. Both players have no banks. We just finished a Hydra den. We're doing upgrades for Hydras that we don't have yet. This is going to be a tough hold. 58 to 84 army supply. Yep, I think that this is game, unfortunately, for... Oh, no, maybe the mutas. Maybe there's enough mutas to take out the Hydralisks and to hold this. That is 10 drones going down, though. Banelings going to the other hatchery. Oh, stop them from getting into the mineral line. But the hatchery does fall. Now there is another hatchery on the production tab for your edge about to pop. So where he had been all in, he's shifted now. He is no longer contained to only 1 base. Or sorry, 2 bases. Ragnar needs to try to go and maybe hit him in the face right now, but that's a lot of Hydras. 1-1 damage upgrades finishing for Ragnar. Okay, now just run, just run, just run. You don't need to keep fighting this. Save your units. You don't need to keep fighting this. You knocked him off the base. Alright, good choice to run by Ragnar. These are such cool skins, by the way. I love how the Mecha Zerg look. But that being said, the counterattack is coming from your edge, and the hatchery is in production. 52 to 41 army supply, lots of Hydras, lots of Lings, no Banelings from the side of Ragnar, unfortunately. Oh, Zergling gets intercepted on its way, or sorry, not Zergling, drone gets intercepted on its way. I do think that this is probably game. That is so many Hydras. Banelings getting sniped before they can get to the Hydralisks. Okay, that one does get some damage, but I think it's just too little too late. The Hydras are in the base. They're sniping everything. 10, 12, 14, 15 drones going down. 18. You know, we saw some good looks from Ragnar in this game, but he's just falling a little short, unfortunately. Trying to get lurkers up, hoping that that will maybe be his salvation, but there is so much blue Zerg here. Lurker burrows. I just don't think it's going to be enough. Economy is in shambles. Tech being destroyed. Spawning pool about to go down. Meanwhile, your edge is macroing behind this too. And that is the game. 3-0 for your edge. GG! Alright, I do gotta run. So we are going to raid Defiance if he is still streaming Amateur League content. And it looks like he is. So we have a little bit of a delay, but we are going to go and raid Defiance. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your weekend.